This is Dino Dan from Cypress, California, and you're watching the Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. That's right. It's a show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. Broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. The barbecue capital of the North Coast. And social distancing capital of the world. I am your program host, Greg Rippey, happy to have you aboard here. It's fun and frivolity for the next 120 minutes, folks. You can guarantee that. If you think you can bring some fun and frivolity as well, you're welcome to do so.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the bbqcentralshow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. It's the first Tuesday of a brand new month. Welcome to April. And 13 minutes from now, we'll find us rejoining our first Tuesday of the month regular guest, the pitmaster of Killer Hogs Barbecue Team, and the co-founder of How to Barbecue Right, Malcom Reed. Malcom, like the rest of us, shut in for a number of weeks. He's been hard at it, putting together great recipes, cooking up a storm. We will go ahead and hit all of those. And I thought it would also be a great idea, probably with all three of the guests tonight, to pick their brains on what to do with all of this free time a lot of you are finding yourselves with. Because what I hear a lot of is, I'm going to now start a YouTube channel, or I'm now going to start a podcast with all of this free time. So while I'm an expert on podcasting and live show producing that turns into a podcasting, some of my other guests are YouTube sensations, so I'm sure they have some best practices that we will fold through. Then, after Malcom, we will be joined by a semi-recurring guest, the creator of Another Pint Please. It's been a handful since we've had him on the last time. That, of course, being Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. Love talking with Mike. Mike has long been associated with one of the most spectacular grilling brands out there called Weber, and we will talk to him about what he's up to. Now, Mike is unique in the fact that he has not a lot of free time, or is not finding himself with a lot of free time on his hands, because he is in a first responder's role working with police departments. So his time is being used judiciously, probably, when it comes to cooking. So we'll talk to him about that and how he's mixing work and cooking, keeping up with the blog. He's also got some new things going on with Weber that he's going to be telling us about. Maybe he's got a Weber smoke fire. He was probably a pretty good guy to get thought of about Weber smoke fire and what he thinks of it, what all this internet scuttlebutt is about, or had been about. It's kind of died off recently, of course. So that'll wrap up the first hour. Malcom Reed and Mike Lang. Then we'll move to the second hour. I had him on a couple weeks ago for some bonus content, and he rejoins me for who is the second first Tuesday of the month regular guest. That is Sam, the Cooking Guy. TheCookingGuy.com is his website. So we'll do a 2-week debrief since the last time we chatted, and then we'll get into a bunch of other stuff, including, again, going back to the whole YouTube channel stuff. For those of you that are looking to start a channel, Sam is now 1.66 million subscribers in. Easily the most successful YouTuber that we have here on this show. He's found something that works, really dialed it in. remember, my relationship with Sam goes back 10, 11 years at this point, and what you're seeing now as a finished product on his show or on his YouTube page is vastly different from when I was first introduced to Sam. So we'll talk to him about evolution and getting subscribers, keeping subscribers, and then building that momentum. Or perhaps, where does the momentum build all on its own? What's the threshold? Because as you can see, once Sam hit 1 million subscribers, his race to 2 million is going to happen very quickly. Very interesting stuff. So there you have it. That's the show. If you want to jump in, more than happy to have you. 216-220-0966. And in lieu of that, you could email me, Greg, at thebbqcentralshow.com. Don't forget that you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snappy Snap /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, where you can also find a live video feed when that happens on Tuesdays from 9 to 11. That's what we're doing right this very instant. Now, it's no surprise to any of you that listen to this show that the words handy and me don't go together. I'm not talking about that handy. I'm talking about being able to fix stuff, okay? And 2 days, I guess it was yesterday, what showed up on the stoop from our favorite little website called Amazon.com was something called a catio, which is a play on words, part cat, part patio, mash them together, and you have a catio. And basically it was, it had to have been 70 pieces of wood, pine, wood framed, with like chicken coop fencing, real chintzy stuff, all put together. I didn't have to lay the fencing down on it, but it was all pieced together. So now, what's the worst thing that I could possibly think of that I'm going to have to do over the course of, to me, what might as well take a week, okay? Assembly required. Not only partial assembly required, full assembly required. So immediately I'm feverish. I'm working my contacts. I'm trying to figure out who I can hire to get this done for me. But of course, I can't hire anybody because everybody's home. Nobody can be around each other. So now I'm screwed. I undo the packaging. 2 big boxes. Very heavy, by the way. 2 big boxes. I go through. I see the parts list. I check parts list with the parts that are in the box. I'm setting things aside in their separate places, thinking that this is how handy people do this stuff. And then the kiss of death. And my oldest Bobby is with me to at least attempt to make the start before she goes to work at the pizzeria. At the very beginning of directions, no drill required, only hand screwdrivers. I don't know why. Maybe because pine is a soft wood and they're afraid if you're going to be an aggressive driller and slam through the wood. If you're just tuning in and you just caught that, you probably have no idea what we're talking about. I get it. The second sentence. Assembly 30 minutes or less. Let's translate that to anybody that's remotely handy, that has any type of ability to fix and or have a lot of tools. You know, you think it's a joke when I talk about how I have a singular toolbox that resembles more of a tackle box, like a kid's starter tackle box. It doesn't open up with many levels of trays for tools and all of this stuff. It's got a removable tray, and then there's like a big bottom area where I throw a bunch of stuff that I will never use again, but I don't want to throw it out in case I need it. And it's been piling up over the last 12 years or 15 years that I've had a house, however long it's been. But I have my screwdrivers. I still have this thing that I've shown a number of times. I think those are lock channels, but they're probably not. Maybe it's a wrench. I'll tell you what it is. It's a Craftsman 45379. This is what it is. 30-minute assembly or less. Your pal, Greg Rempe, 4.5 hours later, built a catio. That's right. This guy did that. 4.5 hours later. Now, you might ask yourself, how does it take you 4 hours longer than it told you in the directions? Well, aside from everything I've told you, directions are bad. I've done this before. I could make $1 billion if every company would send me directions that don't have English involved with them. If it's just pictures, I'm left up to my own unhandy devices. So when I see the sides and I have to figure out, are the braces inside? That doesn't look right. Doesn't say. And you build 60% of it upside down and inside out. You have to unassemble the whole goddamn thing, learn from your mistakes, and then redo it again. Of course, the second time you put it back together, it does really take 30 minutes or less. It's the 4 hours that it took in advance of that last half hour that ruined everything. Needless to say, after the big rainstorm that's supposed to be pushing through here any minute in the next 5-hour window, the catio will be going up on the back somewhere. Maybe on the patio. Catio on the patio. Hey, everybody, catio on the patio. I'll take a picture of it and put it up on my Facebooks and Instas, so hit me up there. It said 30 minutes. I knew right then I should have just walked away. I should have set it on fire. Would have been easier to get a different one and set that one on fire, too. Malcolm Reed coming up out of the break. But not before I talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. And yes, folks, I still have my Prime Daniel Boone in the box. But I can put that thing together for sure. I know that. It might take 6 hours, but I know I can put it together. Now, the Prime line is the more recent line of cookers. It's sturdy, robust chassis. It's got peek-in windows on the main cooking chamber and pellet hopper, 2 internal meat probes, Wi-Fi technology. So if you're looking for the tech, then the Prime line of cookers is the one you want to take a look at. Now, if you want to save a couple bucks, technology isn't that big of a deal to you. You don't give a hoot. Save a couple bucks. Get the Choice line. I have a couple Choice line cookers right in my backyard right now. They still fire up. It's been any number of years. They've been in the Cleveland winters, the Cleveland summers, the 2 days of Cleveland spring and fall that happen every year. They're great. So if you want to save a couple bucks, go Choice. If you want to spend a couple extra more bucks and get all the tech that's included these days, Prime line is the one you're going to want to check out. In any event, they also have pellets and sauces and rubs and accessories. Of course, the Jim Bowie and the Daniel Boom also house the pizza oven insert that I talk about. And if you're looking for something a little bit more portable, the Davy Crockett is one you're going to want to check out. Lots of great stuff to look and learn over at greenmountaingrills.com. Not to mention, great recipes. Sterling Smith and a whole bunch of other folks out there. Christina Fitzgerald, I think, is a Green Mountain Grill ambassador. Not exactly familiar with who she is, but Robin Lindars talks about her, so I know she does some recipes. So check it all out. It's great. greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. Find a dealer near you. Check out the dealer. Have them school you up. Go take one home and be happy. Malcolm Reed coming up on the other side. Stick around. We'll be right back. I hit the wrong button. We'll be right back. There we go.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, and grilling oils. All of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now. Always trust your butcher. Be sure to check out Dave's new podcast as well. It's going swimmingly. All right, first guest, first Tuesday of the month. You know who it is, right? That's right. It's Malcolm Reed from How to Barbecue Right. Hey, Malcolm.
What's happening, Greg?
I am doing fabulous. Hopefully you are healthy and staying socially distant and all that. Like, what's been the biggest hurdle for you guys since the are you guys sheltered in place down there? And are you in Louisiana or?
We're man, and yeah, we're sheltered in place. We've been working from home as much as possible and trying to, get outside and fire up those grills. We finally got some decent weather the past few weeks. The rain has stayed away for a little while. I think we have some more coming, but just trying to hang in there like everybody else, do the best we can with what we have.
Is it a big life change for you? I mean, you guys, at least you and Rochelle, probably more like home-based per se from a work, or not so much?
From work, not so much, but man, I miss going places. I mean, I'm used to at least getting to go to the grocery store and walk around and look at the meat counters and go see the butcher and all that good stuff. So I'm not getting to do any of that.
So have you guys designated between you and your wife on who's the chosen or unchosen one to be the outside person, or do you take turns?
Well, we've been doing the click list, the click and pull, the delivery stuff. Yeah. So we've stayed out of stores. We're trying to take it serious as we can, try to stay healthy.
Do you think they're jamming us up secretly, or like Instacart and Click Check and whatever else? Like even the big grocery store has their own. You have to leave the house, but you don't have to get out of the car. You pull up into a parking space, they bring it out, they load it in for you, and all that stuff, so you don't have to go into the store. Do you think that they're like packing in hidden profits and all this stuff because they're really able to take advantage, or no?
Well, they're definitely. I think the grocery stores now are making more money than they ever have,
right.
From what I've seen. But I think we're gonna just have to get used to a big change in the way business is done, Greg. This is something that's coming. I think it's it's going to be part of the new norm. It's just going to take some adjusting to.
Can you believe that in this day and age of 2020, that if you were to go in probably any grocery store right now under this particular arena that we're living in, that the bread aisle is gone? It's like Russia in Chernobyl. I mean, that's completely unbelievable to me. And then you go 6 aisles over where the snacks are, and it's like regular day 2020. It's mind-boggling.
What blows my mind is the toilet paper aisle, man.
Right.
People are hoarding toilet paper like it's gold. You can't get any paper towels, toilet paper, anything like that. The whole paper aisle is just empty. I mean, there's people stalking the trucks and seeing what they're unloading, see if they're going to put out more toilet tissue.
Yeah, here's the PSA Malcolm and I are putting out. Malcolm didn't know we were going to do a joint PSA, but we're asking you people, buy a couple packages of toilet paper to tide you over to the next time. Leave some for the next shopper. I mean, if Malcolm and I see one more person with a cart full of toilet paper, we're just going to tackle you in the parking lot. We're going to steal all your toilet paper, and then we're going to make fun of you on our various social media channels. That should probably put a fear into everybody, right, Malcolm?
Yeah, man, and this whole fear thing and people hoarding stuff is ridiculous. I mean, if people would just step back and take another look at it and get what they need, like you said, man, we'd be better off, and you wouldn't have a supply chain disruption like we're seeing. But I mean, it is what it is. And I think the media is, helping their cause will blow it out of proportion.
No doubt. Malcolm Reed from How to Barbecue Right joining me here, pitmaster of Killer Hogs. So as you had mentioned, you're doing a lot of cooking as we were kind of setting up for this. And it's all over the board for you. You do some breakfast stuff. You're doing some normal dinner and regular eats kind of stuff. So I like breakfast here and there. I'm not a tremendous breakfast eater, but if I hear of something good or I wake up feeling it, I'll go ahead and grab some breakfast. So what have you been working on a breakfast recipes list?
Well, since I haven't been able to do comps, it's freed up my Saturday mornings. And so I've just been going outside and firing the grill up when it's nice, man. I've done what I call a breakfast burger, and I use like an everything bagel, with the one with the seeds and all the seasoning on top of it. But I grilled up a sausage patty, like a breakfast sausage patty in the shape of a burger, grilled it on my PK grill, topped it with a fried egg and some bacon and some cheese, and just put it on a bagel, and it made a really good breakfast burger. This past Saturday, I did mini breakfast quesadillas. I know you've probably had breakfast burritos or tacos for breakfast is what we call it, but it's just sausage and egg, cheese and peppers, and you could garnish it with salsa and sour cream, all that good stuff. But all of it's just getting me outside and on the grill. So I've just been sharing what I've been doing on Instagram. it's not been on YouTube videos. It's just been quick hits and, just getting people outside cooking, hopefully paying attention to what we're doing and seeing that you can cook other stuff besides the traditional 4 meats.
So are you going outside with only the intention of firing something up and then seeing what happens, or do you have some kind of a game plan on general concept, and then you're scouring the house to see what you have to make that come to a reality?
That's definitely what I'm doing, man. We go and we see what's in the fridge and what's in the pantry, and I try to come up with something from there. And, we have been, making lists and getting some of the click list stuff from the stores, but you never know what you're going to get on that, what they're out of. So it's been fun to see. It's almost like an episode of Chopped, seeing what you can come up with.
Yeah, except you don't have to worry about getting booted out. You're a winner every single time.
That's right. If Rochelle and Michael kick me off, I'm in trouble, man.
Yeah. Well, you're shame, and then they're going to starve. So everybody loses. That's no good. So you get to stay. Now, the other things that you are into is this. This thing was like really popular 6-7 months ago. Not saying that it's lost popularity per se, but you were seeing it all over the place. Something called picanha.
Yeah, and basically it's just sirloin cap. It's culotte. It's also called that, but it's the top part of a sirloin roast. It comes off, off kind of that hind area of the cow, and it's really good. I've done it the traditional way. Done videos on it before, where you just season it with salt and you kind of double it over and stick it on a spit and roast it over the coals. But I treated this more almost like picanha steak. I cut it into strips and I just show people how you can cook it as a steak if you don't have a rotisserie. And man, I'm telling you, if you've never tried that cut with the fat and the way it crisps up on it, and you can season it with just about whatever, but man, it melts in your mouth.
Yeah,
It's as good as anything.
It's widely accessible. You just shouldn't be intimidated by the name.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the picanha is kind of a South American, way of cooking it. Then that's usually roasted on a spit. But if you ask for sirloin cap or culotte, that's probably what you'd see it called here in the States.
And you're cooking it up in a medium rare fashion, or however you normally like it.
You kind of run a 2-zone fire, keep it over on the cool side till it comes up to about 110, 115 internal, and then you just got your hot, put your grate on your hot side. Move it over there and sear it on each side for a few minutes. It kind of has 4 sides the way you cut it. It's got the fat side and then the opposite side and then 2 edges that you can turn up and get a little sear on too. So it just cooks it real even across. And I did it like medium rare, like 125, and man, it would melt in your mouth.
So is this showing up as a whole piece that you would cut up, regardless if you're doing the traditional way or doing it your way, or does it come already cut up?
No, it's probably, if I had to guess, 4 or 5 pound whole cut, like a roast. And I didn't have to trim it too much. I took some of the silver skin off, but you really want that fat cap on there. It's about a 1/4 inch of fat, and that's what cooking it, you melt it on the reverse sear, but then when you put it over on the hot side, that fat really gets happy and starts sizzling and flavors the meat. It drips on the coals. It'll flame up a little bit on you, but all that's good stuff, man. That's what you want to happen.
All right. I got to be on the lookout for that, no doubt about it. The other thing that you did was wings, 3 different ways. I think we both agree, and we might have talked about it when Super Bowl was happening. We love wings. We're big wing guys. So how are your wings 3 different ways?
Well, I did. I broke out my Vortex on the Weber for one, and that's probably my favorite way. Hang on one second. Let me silence this phone. But I did them. I just did them with a little hot rub, and then I dusted them with some. I don't know if you're familiar with Cosmo's wing dust.
Yeah.
But he has like dry, hot wing flavored. It's almost like a powder, and you cook the wing and you sprinkle it on it at the end to get the effect of a sauce. Huh. But the hot meat soaks it up, so it's really good. So that was a buffalo style on the Vortex. Then I did a Parmesan wing where I crusted it with Parmesan. I was testing out my buddies over at Swine Lice. They put a video out on it, and they keep telling me how good those wings are. And I'm not really a big parm wing guy, but I tried it and it was really good. It makes a crust on it. And then the other one, I did some wing lollipops where I, kind of cut the meat around the little bone, pushed it all down around the bigger end and made a lollipop, put them on a Traeger, just smoked them until they were hitting about 175. And then I dunked them in what I call a firecracker sauce. It's just some brown sugar and honey and mixed with some peppers and some hot sauce to kind of give it a pop. And it's real sweet, but it's got a lot of good heat to it. Goes excellent on chicken wings.
What kind of a ratio brown sugar to honey? Equal parts or one more than the other?
No, I did like a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of honey, 6 ounces, I think it was, of hot sauce, which is like a small bottle, and then just some cayenne pepper and a little bit of red pepper flake to give it some punch.
Wow.
Super simple, and you don't even really have to cook it. You just want to stir it over some low heat till all the sugars dissolve, and you just dip your wing in it and put it back on there and let it glaze a little bit.
So I don't want to speak for the people that are non-heat. Their palates don't like the heat. You know, I'm a pretty big heat guy. I can stand a lot of heat. But where does this firecracker sauce rate on the heat scale, in your opinion?
Well, it depends on how heavy-handed you get with that cayenne. If you wanted it to be milder, you could just do the hot sauce and the butter and the brown sugar and the honey. It'd be sissy wing then. A sparkler wing. You wouldn't be a firecracker.
Yeah, a little smoke bomb wing, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Malcolm Reed joining me here on the show, howtobbqright.com, his website. Make sure that you're subscribed over there on YouTube. All right, so you did the steak, you did the wings, and you're starting something now called the Delicious Dinners, which kind of goes back to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, which is like quick videos, going out each week on top of the regular videos.
Well, Shell put me in charge of dinner a couple times a week, and so I said, "Well, if I got to cook, you're at least going to film something on it, right?"
Yeah, get the
so
content.
we started just grabbing the cell phone, and whatever I'm cooking up, she'll grab some footage on the cell phone. No mics, no lights, just kind of raw style. It's kind of like our old videos, and I do a lot of it's done in the kitchen. It's not out on the grill, but you know me, I'm going to incorporate the grill when I can. The first one I did a grilled sausage and grilled chicken pasta jambalaya. So it was kind of like a souped up Alfredo pasta that I added some peppers and onions to, my Cajun seasoning, and it had the sausage and chicken in it. So it was really, really good. That's an easy, quick recipe. It's something that we throw together all the time if we need a dinner in a hurry. I even used it with, I cheated and buy the frozen chicken breasts that are pre-cooked and just slice those up and throw a smoked sausage on the grill, and you got something that's ready to go quick. I also did last week, one of our dinners that we have all the time when we're trying to eat a little better, try to eat healthy, because you can't all be barbecue and fat and all that good stuff. But I did a smoked chicken breast, whole, bone in, skin on, and I paired it with some sweet potatoes and broccoli, which a lot of times you have trouble getting your kids to eat broccoli and sweet potatoes. Well, I made a little spicy honey Dijon glaze, and it was super simple. It was just some honey and Dijon mustard, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of salt and pepper in it, and just kind of stir it up to where it's got a little bit of spice and it's kind of savory, but you get the sweetness from the honey, and drizzle that over those vegetables that I roast. You can do it on the grill or in the oven. And Michael loves the broccoli that way. You can't get him to eat steamed broccoli, but roasted broccoli or grilled broccoli, he really likes it.
Is he a cauliflower kid or no?
We'll do the cauliflower rice sometimes, so we could get him to eat that. I don't think he would just eat, unless he had a gallon of ranch, he might eat something.
Yeah, I guess you would eat anything if you had a gallon of ranch. Well, I would suggest, because we don't, our kids won't eat a lot of raw vegetables. They won't eat, some of them will eat raw broccoli, raw cauliflower, but by and large, most of them don't like the raw stuff. But we'll roast it, or we'll do it in the grill, both the broccoli and the cauliflower. A little olive oil. I'll put a little Desert Gold rub from Big Papa Smokers over the top of it to kind of give a little bit of a earthy flavor profile. And man, it's like almost like making atomic buffalo turds. If you could make 700 of them and they're all going to be gone, no matter how much you put in front of them, everybody seems to eat it. So just a quick, easy thing to do. You're already doing it with the broccoli, so you might add a little extra color to the vegetable table over there at the Reed household.
Oh yeah, we love the roasted vegetables either on the grill or oven. Man, you can't beat them. We don't really cook much vegetables on the stovetop, and definitely don't boil or steam broccoli. It's always in the oven, roasted or on the grill.
Yep. Obviously, Easter's coming up on Sunday. Probably has a pretty different look in 2020 than it has had in decades, perhaps lifetimes for some. What are you guys doing, and what do you make?
Well, we're going to catch church service streaming, of course, in the living room. Shell's actually told us that we have to get up and put our Easter clothes on. She's planning a picture, so we're gonna have to take a family pic somewhere.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have like a traditional Easter dinner, just us three. I'm probably gonna do my ham on Saturday and just reheat it a little bit that morning. But I plan on doing that on Instagram if anybody wants to follow along and see me cook a spiral ham. But we're gonna do some roasted carrots and some lima beans and just, some traditional stuff to go with the ham for Easter. And we're just going to, stay at home and give thanks to the Lord for what we have in our health.
Malcolm, a lot of people finding free time here with the last 3.5 minutes or so. People are looking to fill time, and what I hear a lot is, I'm going to start a YouTube channel with this free time, or I'm going to start a podcast with this free time. So as somebody who is well steeped into the success of finding YouTube fame to whatever degree you have, best practices, if somebody's going to use this time productively, whatever that means, what do you think the best way to go about setting up a YouTube channel is?
Well, first off, you got to definitely just start. Don't hold back because you don't know what you're doing. It's simple to go on there, make an account, and set it up and to upload some videos. I mean, you just want to put content up there that you think people will be interested in. It doesn't really matter the quality of it at first. I mean, of course, everybody wants to have something that's super produced and looks perfect, but that's not the case, especially when you don't have any experience doing it. We don't have any experience, and our stuff still doesn't look as great as we would like it to, but we never held back. We started when we got on a routine schedule, and we just kept doing it no matter how many negative comments we had or whatever. We just started doing it. So that's the number one thing. There's all kinds of great videos and things you can do out there to help you, to give you tips, but there's a lot of great groups on Facebook, YouTube groups that you can join, and people will help you. I've helped a lot of people get started, and it's just passing on, what we've learned. It's not that there's any secret to it or anything, Greg. It's just, it's really about getting on a routine schedule and not being scared of the camera. And you don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on equipment. We started just with basic camera. You can do it with your cell phone now. I mean, we've got these mics that I've got here cooked up to the computer. This mic captures good audio on your phone. So editing programs are free. A lot of the iPhones, they have the program we use. So, you can step up and get Final Cut or something fancier, but just iMovie works great. And I'm sure there's others out there too, but, just again is probably the hardest thing for people to get started. But once you get started, you learn as you go, and you're going to build followers. Nobody's going to come in there and have 10,000 people watching all at once, but it's a slow process. You're not going to get rich doing it. But it's a lot of fun, and
I mean, is that the key right now? Because I think people think that they can jump into podcasting or YouTube because they see probably the 0.5% of all YouTubers out there, like a David Dobrik or a PewDiePie or you or saying the cooking guy, and just automatically figure these guys are pulling in $1 million, $2 million, and $3 million and $4 million a year. But that's not necessarily the case.
No, and it takes a lot of time to build up to that kind of money. I mean, I'm not up to that kind of money. I mean, we make some off YouTube, but it's not about that for me. It's more about spreading the information and helping people out than it is trying to make $1 off YouTube. I couldn't quit what I was doing if it wasn't for YouTube. I mean, YouTube helps people see you, and if you have a business, it's a great way to lead people back to a business. But you're not gonna get rich. There's not very many people that I know that have gotten rich or making a good living off just YouTube.
Malcolm Reed can be found at that YouTube channel. Go to his website, howtobbqright.com. Also, the pitmaster of Killer Hogs competition team. Obviously, the competition stuff is going to slide here for a little bit, but once that gets back up and rolling, we'll be talking about what Malcolm is up to on the competition side of things. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you can see what he's up to. Malcolm, we wish you a happy Easter and continue to shelter in place and stay socially distant, and we'll see you again in May.
Happy Easter, Greg. Hang in there, man. Look, I'm always looking forward to talking with you.
All right, guys, there they are. That's Malcolm Reed right there on the show, talking about a whole bunch of different recipes. So if something struck your fancy, you need to head on over to How to BBQ Right and check it out. Great channel, by the way. Plus, who doesn't love a little extra bonus content coming in? Everybody loves bonus content. My bonus content, Malcolm's bonus content. Check him out on Sunday when he is going to be talking about, or when he's going to be following along with the Easter ham. Everybody loves Easter ham. I have a huge ham that John Solberg got me. I'm finally going to cook it. John, I'm going to cook it, I swear. I'm going to bring it out of the freezer tomorrow to allow it to thaw properly because it's huge. It's got a bone in it. Big-ass ham. I'll tell you who doesn't have ham, but they have some really good barbecue food. That's Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside Market and Barbecue, the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. They offer premium Central Texas barbecue products, slow smoked over real wood, shipping, distributing, manufacturing sausages for companies across the U.S., from food trucks to multi-chain restaurants. Southside Sausage could be on your menu, too. All meats are processed in the on-site USDA-inspected facility, a trusted partner with a focus on quality and authenticity. Wholesale options are available, shipping nationwide via FedEx or through food service distribution channels like Sysco, U.S. Foods, and Martin Foods. Co-packaging capable. Research and development to package completion. They can follow your recipe or help you develop something brand new that's jumping around in your head. Private label opportunities are available. What does that mean? Means you can take an already established sausage product that Southside is making, but they will sell it to you and put your logo and branding and all of that stuff on it, so you can now have, instead of Southside Market's jalapeno cheddar, you can have the Barbecue Central Show jalapeno cheddar sausage. I'll sell it. I'll get some money. Southside is making some money because they're private labeling it. You know it's a great product as you're selling it because it's already been successful at Southside. You know what I'm talking about! SouthsideMarket.com is the place to go, and while you're shopping online, use promo code BBQ Central, all one word, lowercase. That's BBQ CENTRAL for 10% off your entire order. Every time. Make sure that you're using it. SouthsideMarket.com. We're back with Mike Lang and Another Pint Please. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
That's right, the Mountain Rushmore of barbecue entertainment. This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You can visit CookinPellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit Amazon.com to purchase as well. In any event, whatever website you go to, if you have a pellet cooker, go buy your pellets at CookinPellets.com. I tell you to go check out CookinPellets.com podcast, but quite honest, it's horrible. It's horrible. You should not be listening to that at the moment. It's a work in progress. I know it's a work in progress, but oh my God, it is absolutely brutal to listen to. You know what's not brutal to listen to? This guy, Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Greg.
Mike, is there anything more brutal to listen to than a poorly produced podcast? It's some of the worst listening ever, right?
You know, especially now as those are podcasting from home with lesser audio, I found myself skipping through some episodes of shows that I like. So yeah, that's a rough one.
Like what? What do you like?
Well, a lot of food stuff, a lot of tech stuff, and some politics stuff. So kind of depending on what kind of mood I'm in.
So most of the stuff that you were listening to that you liked normally is done in some kind of a studio that maybe these guys don't have access to, and now they're relegated to a lesser audio fidelity because they're trapped in their home, and they never had any forethought about doing this at their home or in a bunker somewhere.
That's correct. And really, the ones I like the most are already doing it at home, so they're set up to make it right. But those that were not, like that were in a studio that are more corporate maybe, it's just like, yeah, fast forward.
Yep. So this is out of all of the COVID stuff that has gone on, this is my win of COVID-19. Last week, after a 2-week hiatus, my favorite show, of course, Howard Stern Show. If you're a fan of the show, you know that's to be the case. They fired back up using Zoom, all in their individual homes, all with zero equipment. And I can tell you from second one of that Monday's Howard Stern Show, as it went out over the air through SiriusXM, that I reveled for those 3 hours, knowing that I was sounding 500 light years better than the Howard Stern Show. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
Yeah, good for you.
Only me reveling in my victory, but a week later they bring in all the equipment and all that stuff, and now they're right back to sounding where they used to be. But it just goes to show you that if you aren't somebody that does it like me and have kind of a setup happening in their house, or like you obviously you have a nice backdrop, you have a microphone that you're using there, but you get it. I mean, you're on social media, you know about having good looking, good sounding stuff. But here's a guy who is literally the king of all media, and he sounded as average as it gets, and to some degree that plays into the listenability of a show.
Yeah. I mean, they say, good video is 50% good audio. So right away, granted, that's more radio for Howard. I get that, but still, audio is so incredibly important.
That's right. All right, Mike. So we've gone off track already, but let's steer back on. So before we get into the cooking stuff, day job is with the police department, and I want to know how you and the team are functioning right now, and what the virus is doing to you guys, and how you're able to stay safe.
We're good overall. I'm down here in Southwest Ohio. I think the biggest thing we've kind of witnessed in this entire area is a decrease of call activity and crime. That for the most part, Ohio, as you know, from up north, has been very aggressive in terms of stay-at-home orders and limiting access to other, restaurants and so on and so forth. So for us, it's almost it's a total just change. That said, when things happen, they tend to be more serious issues of domestic violence, of suicide attempts and things of that nature. But on the whole, our goal day in and day out is keeping our people safe. So if things do get worse and ramp up here in Ohio, we're prepared with people to respond.
All right. So how does your routine change, or has your routine changed much? Because I guess you're not a person who has been furloughed or recommended to just stay home when you would usually be out of the house for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So are you pretty much running on the normal day as far as work, and then allotting time for food, cooking, blogging?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I feel so much of my friends that have got kids home from school that are in quarantine, but my day really has not changed at all. I go to work, I come home, I hit the grocery, I'm spending the nights cooking, grilling, photography, video, and then I'm back at it again. So for me, it's not really been much of a change, but man, I tell you what, I get it for those that are kind of going through this.
You're widely known as having a nice affiliation with Weber Grills, one of my favorite brands out there in the live fire industry. So you had mentioned that you were either in the midst or getting ready to start working on some new Weber videos.
I am. We started 2 weeks ago now a series of at-home videos that I've been creating and filming here on my grill deck like I do for a lot of my stuff. In essence, it was Weber's way of basically sort of saying, hey, what's in your pantry? What's on your back deck? And get out and to use it. It wasn't necessarily about, it was just about surviving, What do you have? What can you make? What have you not thought about grilling before? And to me, that's always an enticing opportunity of taking a new look at where you're going to take outside. And I've always loved to do that. And have the opportunity to help people that have not thought that way has been really exciting.
So do you think that if you are making it in an oven, or if you're going to prepare it on a stove, you might as well just get it out there on a grill, and maybe the first time prepare as normal you would, and then the second time, instead of putting it in the pan, put it on the grill, or instead of using the grill, let's use the smoker or something, smoke roasting in that kind of a temperature range. How do you assess or progress a recipe from start to 3, 4, 5 times down the road?
Yeah, I mean, really, there's no difference. I mean, I've said for so many years, I go, if you can do it inside, you can do it outside, and take it outside. I don't care if it's bread, baking bread, making pies. I grilled another calzone the night right before we started with this. But it's things that you could do inside, even soups, stews, breakfast items, anything can be done outside. It changes up your routine. It adds more flavor. Frankly, it's more exciting. You're outside, especially if it's nicer outside like it is today. But yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about the calzone that you had mentioned. I saw you had made an Instagram story about it, and I'm a huge lover of pizza in general, but also calzone seems to me to be the pinnacle of pizza and bread and stuffing and everything together, and it's portable. A little bit more portable than a piece of pizza, although I'll take a piece of pizza with me wherever I go. So where did you come up with it, or what kind of gave you the inspiration to make one of these?
College. There was always a place. I went to Purdue, and we had a stuffed breadstick place, which was basically a calzone, and that's always been in my memory forever. And I've done them before, and more recently, the last month or so, kind of broke that out again. But it's so incredibly easy. I mean, either you make your own dough. I did it tonight. I've used prepackaged a couple weeks ago. You take crushed tomatoes, salt, olive oil, garlic, and you've got your sauce. Cut up some fresh pepperoni, some fresh mozzarella, seal it, crimp it, about 450 indirect. I put it in the Weber Summit charcoal grill, and 15 minutes later, and I'm rocking a calzone. It was good.
Do you use any kind of like smoking wood or anything like that, or is it just the charcoal perfume?
No, I'll typically add apple or cherry, whatever I got on hand. But yeah, you got to have a little bit of smoke. I mean, everyone's got those wonderful little pizza ovens, but to me, especially on the Summit charcoal grill, that's just my ultimate pizza oven. Whether it's baking at 450 or cranking out a pie at 700 degrees, it's just I love it.
Do you use a pizza stone for that, or you go on the grates?
I use a pizza stone on that if I'm going indirect. However, for simplicity, on the grates is so easy too. I mean, in a way, it's a lot easier. I've had more than one peel accident in my lifetime, most documented for others to share my misery. And on the grates, a lot easier. So.
Mike Lang joining me here on the show. Another Pint Please is his website, so check it out. When we are looking to cook, does it matter fuel source? Do you care? I mean, obviously you look on your back deck and it appears you have everything that Weber might have ever made. Maybe there's some other goodies sneaking back there, but given your druthers, are you a charcoal or solid fuel guy by choice, and then gas as needed or for convenience, or what?
You know, at the end of the day, I always love charcoal. That's always been my first grill love, so to speak, as corny as that may be. But I also don't get bent up on everybody saying it's got to be this, it's got to be that. You know, you do you. What's convenient? What's easy? What do you like? What did you make well? It could have been a $5, junk grill from the dollar store. If you made a great meal on it, more power to you. I love it.
What's your favorite cooker?
My favorite cooker is the Weber Summit charcoal grill.
Why?
Because it will do anything and everything. Granted, the classic kettle, I can smoke on it, and I've done that a bazillion times and grill on it, but the Summit charcoal takes it a step further. So if I've always said if I got rid of all the grills in my grill deck, that's the one grill I would have, because it can do absolutely anything for me.
So MSRP wise, you think that or QPR, quality price ratio, you think that's a good QPR buy?
If you're making an investment for something that's going to last 10 to 15 years, I do. And you use it a couple times a week, absolutely. I mean, you think, how much do you spend on a oven or a stove or a range? I mean, if you really want to embrace picking things outside, no matter what time of year it is, it's solid money. And I've had a lot of friends go out and buy them, and they've loved them.
Do you just immediately go for the top line, or do you save a couple bucks and get the, I mean, I hate to say lower end, but the not so hot, the not so expensive one, I guess?
No, I mean, when it comes down to it, you need the grill. The extras are extra for a reason. So you get what's going to create the food for you and give you that tool to make that amazing meal.
Yeah. Weber came out with the Weber Smoke Fire earlier in the year. Obviously, it hyped it up before 2019 turned into 2020, but then started delivering their first part of 2020. A lot of scuttlebutt over the internet. Do you have one of those?
I do.
What do you think about it?
I love it. I mean, for me, I'd never been a pellet cooker before. So for me, it was a total change in turning. No, never.
Oh.
Kamadas, yes. And of course, everything Weber has and other gas grills and everything, but never a pellet cooker. So for me, it was just a total different thing. I was lucky to experience it last summer on a photo shoot where I did some grill styling. But I've had great success with it. And the one thing that I think scares me about it, in air quotes, is that it's so easy to just go out there and turn it on. You know, you think in the mornings you want to get up and smoke a pork shoulder. I'm thinking, I'm going to get up a couple hours early, get things going. I get up, turn it on, set the temperature, and then I'm back in bed in 30 minutes.
And you've had no fire issues. You haven't put it in your kid's room for safekeeping or anything like this. I mean, it's depending on how you read, it was like one of the weirdest, most highly criticized pellet cookers to come out on the market. Now, I'm sure some of that has to do with the fact that Weber's the biggest name in the industry. When they make a foray into a sector that they have never played in before, a lot of people are going to be talking about it. And then the potential negatives are always going to overshoot any of the perceived positives, but you've had no issues whatsoever otherwise.
No, I've had great success with it and shot a lot of content with it, and I've enjoyed it. It's that ease factor. It's like, to me, it's like I should be probably doing more, but it works. I've thought about for my dad, this kind of thing, as he's getting older, that he's rocking a Weber Summit 670 gas grill, but he might need something more like this. It's even easier for him.
Do you think that not having any pellet experience before unjade you, or like your general no offense, your general aloofness to pellet cooker use, like having experience with them, doesn't jade you at all, and it was going to be great no matter what?
Expectations play a role in everything in the world. So no matter what your expectations are from being either a user or not, I think can certainly craft what your final opinion will be. But that could go both directions. If you've used it before, you may expect more, or you may expect less. I think it's just making sure everyone knows what those grills do is probably the best outcome.
So did you have no expectation?
No. I've learned many years ago, Greg, that I've got to limit what my expectations are, or Mike's not a happy boy.
You're shooting everybody, right? That's the bottom
line.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's my piece of advice to humans in general is if there's any way you can possibly go to expecting nothing from everybody you meet and having no expectation in every event that you go to, what's the worst that happens? You can't exceed below no expectation. So even if it was minimal, you've exceeded expectation. You're living a much happier life because, let's face it, not everybody is built to do shit the same way we are going to do shit, and we can't put expectation on somebody, especially if you're not going to tell them to do what you want to do it how you want to do it. You're just asking for heartache and cortisol coursing through your veins.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Everyone looks at things differently, responds to them differently. And that's the hardest thing about it. So limit your expectations and you'll live a lot happier life.
That's right. You're also a huge beer guy. What's hot right now? What are you drinking?
Well, as we speak.
Oh, look at you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Obviously, cheers.
Beer number 8.
Sadly, a lot of the breweries and restaurants shut down. There's a big push locally to support locals. So I have been out constantly. It's a very difficult task to hit my favorite local breweries here in the Dayton area. Tonight, it's Warp Wings Whiskey Rebellion, which is a stout aged in whiskey barrels. It clocks in at a lovely 10% ABV. So I call it a nice evening sipper.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's to me is right now, if you've got local places, I don't care if they're doing growler fills or whatever for carry out curbside, support them. This will pass, but we want these places to live. I mean, Dayton had a huge, and Ohio in general, insurgence of breweries. And I was a home brewer way before there were breweries back in Dayton, but work-wise was never able to, follow that path. But I want them to remain because we've not lost one in the last 8 or 9 years. So
I was going to say, do you think that the craft beer scene is as hot as it was 2 years ago, or barring what we're going through at this moment, do you think it currently is as popular as it ever has been, at least over the last handful of years?
I do. I think, if you look back at, especially in Europe, where your local pub was part of where you lived, and that's what you always supported. Over time, of course, they were bought out and macro breweries stepped in. But I think we're seeing a revert to what it was to have your local. And it may not be the best beer that you've ever had, but there's so many now. Good luck actually naming the best beer ever. But support the place that's close to home, that the people that are working there supporting that small business. And to me, I think that's where this really goes.
Do you think the best beer you've ever had is tied to the best experience that you've ever had?
Without a doubt. The few years that I stick in my mind and think, you know what, that was a great beer that I still seek out, but I know it was tied into an event or something else that I was doing, and I firmly believe in. Yeah.
All right. Anything coming up aside from the Weber videos that you want to promote or talk about here? Tease us, if you will.
No, it's just it's kind of getting through this. I still create content constantly through my Instagram channel, Another Pint Please, and the blog less so much. I mean, it's hard to believe that blog has been up now for going on 12 years.
Yeah, wow.
Which is amazing. But I love the platform of Instagram and just doing more with that and showing what I can create and inspiring others to do the same.
All right, Mike. Well, we hope you have a happy Easter coming up Sunday. You doing a ham or some kind of other traditional Easter thing?
I played today, Easter weekend. Everyone's like, wasn't the Cleveland TV station had the thing of the what is today, and they announced it was Monday. Everyone's lost track of time.
Yeah, right. No doubt. Incredible. All right. So follow Mike wherever he is at. Another Pint Please. Also on Instagram. He does a lot of great work over there. Mike, stay safe. Happy Easter, and we will talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much, Greg. Appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. Not sure if that was my side or what, but he was. Oh, no. That's the wrong one right there. That's right. Started to lose. You know what, man? I'm telling you, mother effers at home are killing internet connections. I don't even have a great pipe as it is because AT&T sucks. They refuse to bring real speed into downtown Cleveland, and I hate them for it. I don't get it. My fastest internet down speed is 50. How am I supposed to watch porn on 50? Come on. And a 12 up? I can't even shoot up into high definition. It will gum everything up. You don't want those girls coming down here into the studio yelling at me at how come they can't get on the worldwide internet because I'm taking up all the bandwidth in the house, spitting up high definition signals to the YouTubes and Facebooks. Mike Lang, that's right. We're going to wrap it up on the first hour. Stick around, be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back, and this portion is brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant at home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. You can find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. My brother-in-law is all over his Fireboard, sending me pictures, doing the social link thing that Ted Conrad told us about that was rolling out. As soon as he got done with that interview, I uninstalled my Fireboard app and reinstalled the new one. It was great. And now you can timeline cook, share it up to all your social media pages. It's all integrated. Thanks again to Mike Lang for joining me last segment. Another Pint Please is his blog, but as he had mentioned, way more active on Instagram. So follow him there on Instagram. Mike Lang, L-A-N-G. And stay safe out there, Mike, for crying out loud. A lot of people that are sick. A lot of people not social distancing still. I can't believe that. So don't rush to help those people. Email coming in from Phil Luswick. Subject, assembly. Greg, I feel your pain. I had the same problem. Setting up my new Masterbuilt gravity feed grill / smoker. Instructions were mostly pictures. Plus, my kit had a duplicate leg on one side, so I had to stop assembly right then and then wait for them to send me the correct leg. Oh, no. I had that happen to me one time. I was putting a grill together. It was completely being put together properly, I might add. Totally. And then, what happened? You know what happened. I got to the back wall of the cart, and it was the wrong parts. Customer service said, you've made a mistake, sir. I said, trust me. I know I probably have, but let me tell you something. So they had to send me a whole new wall. It took a week. You want to see what barbecuing in 2020 looks like, according to Colorado embedded correspondent Dennis Busso? What? Oh, damn it. Hold on. This is what barbecuing looks like in 2020. That's right. You got to stay safe. I don't know why the screenshot is showing that. That's highly annoying. Oh, my God. All right, we are loading up for the second hour. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy another 60 minutes of live fire talk. If you have any questions or comments, shoot me an email, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, or call me, 216-220-0966. We'll be back right after this. Stick around.
Hello, this is Jenny Bell from Clarington, Ohio, and I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how you doing?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wieners.
So listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Hey, just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome aboard. It's Barbecue Central Show, and we're coming at you from the social distancing capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio. It's a live show from 9 to 11 on Tuesday nights, being podcasted directly to you following first hour on Wednesday and the second hour on Thursday. Still to come on the show, you know what? Sam, the cooking guy, joins me for at least one segment, maybe two. Maybe we'll go well into the 11 o'clock hour Eastern. Who knows? I don't even know. I do have a set agenda. I do plan on running it. Do I feel confident that that is going to happen? Not overly. Don't forget you can follow me socially on a bunch of different social media platforms. At BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. Don't forget, Facebook also has a live video feed of this show Tuesdays from 9 to 11 as well, although I don't follow the chat roll over there, only on the YouTube. So if you want to have a chance at me seeing your comment, go ahead and jump over to the YouTube side if you want. But I'm not promoting one over the other. I'm just telling you what I'm looking at. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 119, taking you back to May 1st, 2012. And during this show, we did a famous round table style show, but it wasn't about cooking barbecue. It was about hot topics in the barbecue and grilling world as it related to the year 2012. On the panel were leading opinion makers in 2012, including the guest from last week, Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent, and now Traeger Grills, but it was Whiskey Bent back then only. He didn't even have a show back then. Shane Draper from then Draper's Barbecue. I believe he's also currently still with Grilla Grills. Great opinion maker and former host. If you can, I'm about ready to pull a name for you that you are not going to believe. Former host of legendary barbecue podcast In the Hut, Bruce McCall Jr., a.k.a. Huck Jr., rounded out the 3-member panel and myself, so 4 total. And we talked about a number of hot topics that were going on in the barbecue and grilling world back in May of 2012. Not the least of which, believe it or not, was what is barbecue and what is grilling? Because back then I was still trying to cement my case that barbecue and grilling were 2 different cooking styles. Meathead had come on my show and proceeded to lambast me about how barbecue, everything fell under the barbecue umbrella. Grilling, indirect grilling, smoke roasting, everything was under, and I was adamant that it was 2 separate cooking methods. And we want, that was the lead question of this. So you'll get to wet your whistle on 10 minutes of that. And then if you find it interesting enough, you can go ahead and check out the full entire download link. It'll be right there in the show notes. Secondly, I wanted to take a moment and mention the podcast known as Digital Hospitality. Host Sean Walchef had me on as a guest recently. And because of this coronavirus, this is something that never would have happened otherwise. Sean has had a long-standing rule that all of his interviews had to be done in person, not remote, not from anywhere. You had to be in SoCal. That was it. Otherwise, GTFO. But because of this virus we're dealing with in this country, the rules changed. The pivots had to begin, and finally, the in-person rule dropped, and I was the first virtual guest on Digital Hospitality, dating all the way back to Behind the Smoke, if you were a fan of that. So the interview was fun. There was a lot of backstory on the show, how it came to be, which most of you know already if you're big fans of the show. But we also talked a lot about business, sales, marketing, closing deals, self-evaluating and evolving as a brand in order to stay relevant on the leading edge. We also talked about proper expectations for someone who's just beginning in their podcast journey. And if you're one of those folks, you need to hear the interview. It may be a bit harsh, but it's something people need to hear because I hear it all the time. I'm going to start the podcast because I'm going to make all this money. Oh, yeah? No, you're not. You're not.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And then there's this. Let me ask you a question. What will your coronavirus memory be years from now? Will it be the term social distancing? Will it be the remembrance of how crippled business and the economy became during this time, the record-breaking amount of unemployment? Mine will be that we, as a society, brought to the forefront an industry that I had no idea existed. That being the industry of big cats. And I'm not talking about big-ass domestic house cats like you got a fat cat. I'm talking about tigers and lions and pumas and bobcats and mountain lions. I will remember that within a 2-week time frame, everybody in America who had a Netflix account watched a documentary exposing the seedy underbelly of the keepings of big cats across the land. Especially the one dude with the worst dyed blonde mullet I have ever seen in my life, ever, who somehow had a magical ability to turn heterosexual males gay in an instant. His name, Joe Exotic. Yes, Joe Exotic. And trust me, Joe Exotic ain't a looker. Joe Exotic ain't rich. Joe Exotic ain't swole. But I'll be damned if he couldn't snag a man wife with the precision of a military sniper. Hell, he was so good at it, at one point, he had 2 man wives at the same time. Then, notwithstanding that, there's that kook over in South Carolina who bills himself as a doctor, but we all know he's no damn doctor. He's as much of a doctor as Dr. Dre is a doctor. In fact, push come to shove, I'd rather have the Beats doc carve me open to save my life than that kook Doc Antle. Do you know what the best thing is? There's a running commonality between Doc Antle and Joe Exotic. Do you know what that is? Do you know what the running commonality is? It happens to be their unique ability to pull multiple sex partners and make them their wives and or husbands. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought America turned into the state of Utah overnight. Who knew that this industry had so many opportunities to pull from? Doc Antle has like 5 wives. 5 wives. The dude in Sister Wives show is jealous of how many wives Doc Antle has. And rarely do you hear the terms brainwash or cult thrown around willy-nilly. But in this documentary, it's as common as the words tiger and king. Doc Antle and Joe Exotic are either the biggest studs on earth or they need to be arrested yesterday. And I'm not saying that they're involved in sex trafficking, but the Tigers are laughing at the amount of humans being run through those places.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And don't even get me started on that bitch Carol Baskins. I'm not even going to have it. I'm not talking about that bitch Carol Baskins. I'm not going to talk about it. If you haven't wasted those 7 precious hours of your life yet, don't be Mr. or Mrs. Macho and say you're not going to watch it. Fuck that. Fire up Netflix. Get on board this crazy train. It's not like you have anything better to do anyway. Do this. Stay socially distant. And try not to fall in love with Joe Exotic, especially if you are a heterosexual male. It's almost impossible not to. It almost happened to me when I visited the GW Zoo last year, and I do have proof. Look at this. It was very close. You can see I'm almost in love with him right there. I'm not kidding. Also, try not to fall in love with Doc Antle if you're a female of any sexual orientation. It's very difficult. He'll get you. His personality is magnetic. Who knew tiger cubs could be such a lure? Now I know. Now I know. Too late, but now I know. Get some tiger cubs. Women just throw themselves at you. You can have 10 wives. If you want 10 wives, you get 5 wives if you want, or 2. Sam the Cooking Guy is coming up out of the break. I'll talk to you quickly about the longest running sponsor of the show, the Barbecue Guru. There's 2 new controllers coming out really soon. One might be shipping as early as next week, and the other one the week after that. Ultra Q, DynaQ. DynaQ is replacing what? The Party Q. Ultra Q replacing the Cyber Q Cloud, I think it was. So we're retiring some, but we're bringing some back. We're not just adding willy-nilly to the product's portfolio here. No. We're constantly upgrading at the Barbecue Guru. So if you're in the market for automatic pit temperature control, don't even consider anything else. I don't want to hear about it. These folks are the company that created automatic pit temperature control technology from the beginning. So you have to only buy from them. I demand it. You only buy from them. You go to their website, bbqguru.com, or you call them, 800-288-GURU, and see what they have there. Ask them all the questions, and they'll make sure you have everything you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Longest running sponsor of the show, the Barbecue Guru, and we're back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around.
Monthly visits from a killer hog, a cooking guy, a man named Meathead, the author of Barbecue Bible, a grill girl, a bristly barbecue journalist, and the male feasts of the barbecue world known as the embedded correspondents. Only found right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 2 sizes. With a host of accessories, whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. The first Tuesday of the month also brings a visit from this guy, Sam the Cooking Guy. Hey, Sam.
This guy.
Hey, now.
This guy. What's up, buddy?
Hey, did you hear the intro?
I did.
Did you like that?
I do like that. Thank you.
I had the really big voice guy cram in all of my regulars in a read-up. So,
where's that really big voice guy live?
He's Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Mm.
And he really sounds like this.
That's a business, huh?
Well, I mean, if you have a... See, here's the funny thing. Like, I don't know if you've ever thought about voiceover guys, but when you take 5 seconds to think about them, I mean, how many can you actually name by name? Zero, I'm sure. So how many can there be that are really good? 5, 10, maybe. They command the majority of the market. But the detractor, maybe. I think it's something that would wear off. I think initially I would want to have that, but can you imagine having voiceover guy's voice? And part of me used to think it's a gimmick. They put it on, but guess what?
But but look, you and I've said this before, we're both fans of Stern.
Yep.
You remember the day he had that guy on.
Yes, right. That
guy was not, that was his voice.
Yeah, Kelly and Chloe. Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
So when
there's that guy, there's also the guy, that movie guy,
Don LaFontaine.
Okay.
Yeah. So him.
But clearly, you've thought about it more than I've thought about it because you know the name.
Yes, because I've seen the name when I started looking for a guy to do the voice stuff, and I eventually, because I was driving back from a truck show one time, I was listening to Westwood One, and I heard the voice, and I was like, God, who is that guy? Like, that's the voice I want for my show, and I got on the internet, and I just found him through a bunch of
just
Googling.
Like that.
Yeah,
there's a guy that does the voice of the movie guy of LaFontaine.
Yeah, he used to be on Howard Stern's show doing that voice.
Funny.
Yeah,
he's funny.
Oh, he's great. He does all the satirical movie trailers. So after years of having this guy David Lee do the cuts for my show, I actually had him on for an interview, and I mean, I'm telling you, this guy talks exactly like that over the phone. He's like, I was like, man, it's almost like a blessing and a curse. Like, would you want to really sound like that all the time, like you're voicing commercials?
You order Chinese food to pick up, and you get that voice. They think you're effing with them.
Yeah, or you make everybody feel like they're the most important person ever. I want a number 17 beef and broccoli, 4 egg rolls.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
By the way, one of my favorite Chinese restaurants just burned down here in San Diego last week.
Oh no.
Yeah, they were slipping a little bit, but
yeah. Well, there you go.
Maybe
what
they needed
so
a
what are you
reboot
saying?
anyways.
What are you saying?
I didn't say
they were slipping a little bit and fire. I mean, I'm starting to connect the dots. There was a guy in Cleveland famous for that. He would let his restaurants go, and health would come in.
Money.
Yes, and then he would rebuild.
Oh, look, I'll be honest. It didn't escape me that they've been vacant. Like nobody's in there cooking on those giant woks.
Yeah.
With lots of plugs in the kitchen for giant rice cookers and stuff like that. They've been vacant for at least a few weeks.
One does wonder. One does wonder. All right, look, you did a great bonus content segment with me a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just as coronavirus was starting to really take a hold of this country. So you fast forward 2 weeks to where we are today. Anything changed for you and your partners from a restaurant standpoint?
We're still closed.
Yes.
Yeah, we're still closed. I mean, and I think some of the restaurants around us that were doing the takeout thing, some of them have stopped.
Yeah, because they weren't built like that initially.
I think it was best intentions. They wanted to provide a little something to the community. They wanted to have some hours for their employees. But I think even at that, it was tough to sort of make the dollars make sense. I read an interesting article in Eater the other day that said there were some big-time restaurants in the article was mostly about New York. No, actually, it's other cities. Some big-time restaurants that had been doing the takeout model, takeout, curbside pickup, delivery model, that they had decided it wasn't worth the risk of having people even congregate 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
For what could happen. And they said, one restaurateur said, I watched a guy come in one day coughing, hacking, and sweating in line. And he was 6 feet away from everybody. And I went, that's it. I'm done.
Yikes.
So that was the last night that he was open.
Have there been or what have been the hardest conversations you have had with your partners today during all of this?
We're hanging in. We believe that this can't go on forever. Who knows what will happen?
Mm-hmm.
We imagine in the next, I don't think anybody's opening up within the next 2 months. I really don't.
Wow.
I mean, I would love to be super positive and say that yes, it's going to happen, but I don't think. So where we're at now, we're the beginning of April.
Yeah, very beginning.
April, May. I think it's going to be summertime before we start to see a glimmer. I really do. I hate the idea, but I think that's what it's going to be, and we're okay for a couple of months. Starting to push beyond that, we have some very serious conversations about what will happen.
I was going to say, does that start the road of shutting down for good kind of talks, or do you not even want to talk about that
I
until
don't really
you have
even want to entertain that. And you know what? I'm fortunate that my two little nothing restaurants, my two baby restaurants, I'm part of a larger umbrella group.
Yeah.
So they've got a little bulk behind them. That being said, there's all kinds of little restaurants out there right now. And as we said last time, all kinds of every business out there right now that are having to have those conversations saying, literally, if we don't do something, if something doesn't happen in the next 2-3 weeks, a month, we're going to have to consider just closing her down. And then we all go find other jobs. And say screw it to the landlord and hope that God forgives us. And it's just this domino that starts at the bottom and it goes all the way up, I can't pay the restaurant guy can't pay his rent, can't pay his employees. He closes for good. That landlord doesn't get any income.
Yeah.
He can't pay his partners, his debtors, his bank. People look at banks sometimes just like, well, F them. They've got all kinds of money.
Right.
Well, they do, but it's generally not necessarily all their money. And something has to happen. You can't say, F the government. They should give me, 15 times what I would normally get. They got a lot of money. Well, they don't.
Well, if nobody's making money, nobody's getting money. That seems to be a pretty basic business principle, right? I mean,
pretty good business principle.
If the banks have all the money, but if they're not getting any money, then they're not continuing to have all the money.
Can I just say something before I forget?
Yes.
I want to do a commercial here. Is that all right?
Do you need a music bed underneath you?
I do not need a music bed.
All right.
But I'm going to forget. I don't have a very good memory. I smoked a lot of weed when I was younger.
Great.
Did all kinds of other drugs.
I've never done weed in my life.
Yeah, I know you don't do that stuff. You couldn't name something I don't think I haven't done.
What?
I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying I had a.
Have you done crack cocaine?
Absolutely.
What?
I was wondering what sound you were going to play. Yeah.
Oh my.
By the way.
Really?
Not that I'm.
By the way, instant chat blowing up with Sam's a man. What a champ. He's a man's man. Oh my God, I love him even more. I mean, the listers are going on and on.
Look,
what the hell?
We have very honest conversations, correct?
We might have broached the too intense conversation. Crack cocaine.
Should I not have said that?
No, I want you to say it. I mean, I want you to say it if you did it.
You try things.
You do?
And I inhaled.
But they said it could blow your heart up. Like, doesn't that scare you enough to not try it?
Look, it's terrible. I was young. What did I know?
So was I.
Look, I had this is maybe fodder for a much longer conversation. I had a brother who specialized in that world.
Oh.
He's no longer with us.
Oh.
Sadly, he took his own life.
Oh.
But that was his world for quite some time. And I was then, I don't think anymore, easily influenced. You can be easily influenced by somebody older and a family member.
Yeah, of course.
And he turned me on first to Coke, which I'm guessing you haven't done weed, so you haven't
No,
done.
never.
So
Oh my God.
there's that. I mean, how did we get here,
I'm
Greg?
totally scared of doing cocaine of any form, rock
No, you
or
shouldn't.
powder
You
or
shouldn't.
anything.
Look, it's terrible. It does awful things to your heart. Fortunately,
Here's what I heard.
I did.
You do crack and your heart explodes, and you do cocaine and you have a heart attack. I mean, one is a little worse than the other, but you're both dead.
You drive a car and you can crash into a wall.
I understand. Totally understand. I get it.
You make it sound like you do those things and the bad shit's going to happen.
Yes.
Are you looking at me right now?
Yes.
I've never had a heart attack, and I still have a completely intact heart in my body.
Well, maybe my dad scared me the right way. I bought into it. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad for that.
Also, I was the oldest. I didn't have any older siblings that were into nefarious activity that also, I was a little bit more pliable to.
The older children I have found tend to be a little wiser.
Oh, well, I'm not going to argue that. You must, well, I mean, I'm totally
And I was
wise.
the youngest, and I wasn't the wisest at all.
You were going to do a commercial before we got into your heroin and crack cocaine use.
Stop it. And it was only heroin twice. It was not that big a deal. Okay,
Really?
Listen,
Did you do heroin too?
Did I stop it? Just stop now. Stop.
Okay, you opened the door.
You opened the door.
You said you did all the drugs, and I started naming them.
I'm just trying to be honest. What kind of guest do you want?
I'm just steering our course back. I'm steering our ship back to course. You're being a great guest right now. I can tell you that. Beer Champs Barbecue said Sam nailing rails all day long. I love it.
Not
Perfect.
anymore. Can I just? You're gonna be surprised when you hear my commercial.
Go ahead.
My commercial is for your interview.
Oh.
With Sean Walchef.
Yeah.
His digital Cali Comfort Digital Hospitality. Yep. He's got too many names. That's what he's got.
He's got plenty.
It's just Cali Comfort Media Event Digital Hospitality. Look, if you guys listening, if you men and women listening haven't heard it or don't know, a guy that both Greg and I know, a guy named Sean Walchef, has a barbecue restaurant here in San Diego. He's very active in the food community. He has been doing this podcast for a long time. He changed formats a little while ago, and now that everybody's in lockdown, he's been doing these Zoom, FaceTime, whatever interviews. And he interviewed Greg Rempe, or as my Siri calls him, Greg Remp.
Ugh.
And I'm telling you, I like this man. I've liked this man a long time. We've been friends for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
I not only learned things about Greg Rempe, ladies and gentlemen, but I have way more respect for him now than I did 2 days ago.
Why?
You should listen. I told you. You just want me to say this again and kiss your ass some more? Your understanding of the business world is really solid. The way you approach your work, the way that you finish a sales call, and then do a little 411 with yourself to take a look at what you did right, what you might have done better, what you think didn't go the way you wanted to go. Write these things down so the next time you approach a similar situation. I'm telling you, folks, there's really valuable information to be gleaned from this guy. And the way that his whole thing started, you should go find it. Do you have a link to it on your nonsense? God knows I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I did post it on my Facebook and
I'm telling
YouTube,
you,
Twitter, whatever.
You don't have to listen to Greg.
No.
You know, he posts it, you might think, oh, he's just a self-serving bastard, just trying to, make himself seem better in front of all of us. I'm telling you, you want to go listen to this. It's really, really interesting. And I don't listen to too many podcasts. And I listened because it was Greg, and I got sucked in because it was Greg.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for the commercial. That was very tremendous. I appreciate it.
Want to go back to my drug use now?
Well, no, let's continue to press ahead. Wait, but heroin twice for real? Because I heard that was like the most addictive stuff.
Okay, listen.
Don't you have to have like a needle and a spoon and fire for that shit?
Don't. And both times, it was given to me under the guise of it being something else.
Like what?
Which is
Pez?
Coke. Coke.
How many other things can it be? So you sniffed heroin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nailing rails, as they say in the chat room. All right.
I don't know that term, but I didn't do that.
All right. So getting back to the virus here.
Can we get back to can we?
Let's look
Good
back.
luck.
Let's look ahead just for a moment. We're finally on the other side of this thing.
Yeah.
Normal starts to come back into our daily lives, however that's going to look. Here's the question. What sticks with us as Americans that we've learned from this shelter-in-place time that we will actually take and apply into our everyday lives going forward post-COVID-19?
Look, I think the touching, the closeness, I think that part is going to be front of mind. I think the cleanliness thing will be front of mind. Washing hands. The medical community has always said you should wash your hands a lot.
Yeah.
Don't touch your face. Don't put your fingers in your mouth and your eyes, that kind of thing. Don't do that. And we all have been living this bit of a Pollyanna life. I think those are the things that are going to stick. I would like to say going with less would be one of those things we would come out of this with. Appreciate what you have. Life is short. Enjoy what you've got. Don't go crazy. Live each day, not like it's your last, but there's a finite number that you have. We don't know how many we've been given, so we should enjoy them as much as we can. Don't save that bottle of champagne that you were given for your 40th birthday for a special occasion. Because a Wednesday night with friends or family should be the special occasion, right? Those kinds of things. I fear, though, that like a woman that has a baby and goes through all that terrible childbirth, says, I'm never doing this again. and then forgets and then has another baby.
Yeah.
I fear that, a year, 18 months down the road, old habits will come back in.
Yeah, well, I think Americans, by and large, are very quick to galvanize and state the obvious in the midst of something terrible, and then 5 hours later, when things are back to normal, go right back to the way it used to be, because that's comfortable, that's what they know, that's what makes us Americans, blah, blah, blah. My hope, I guess, and see, the thing that I don't know, like, I'm not a very political guy. I never hardly ever talk about politics on the show and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just not that interested. I don't watch the news. My wife might ask me questions like, well, did you hear about it? I'm like, no, because I don't want to get bogged down in it. I got enough, crap to worry about than get piled on.
I hear you.
But I don't know what kind of a medical position we were in federally. If we weren't it appears that maybe we weren't in great shape to tackle this, or we didn't do it ahead of or whatever. But I would hope that we would learn that if put in a similar instance, that we have enough stockpile or materials or whatever. So if we are late to the game again, that we can at least recover in a much more significant and rapid fashion. But I just don't know what that looks like, and nobody will tell you what that looks like, and that scares me the most.
Look, it's hard to know. All we can do is prepare on our own minor levels. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
We can't. I can't affect the government. I can vote for people that I think will do the right thing. Actually, I can't because I'm Canadian, but I can encourage people to vote for people that they believe will do the right thing. That's why it's so important that people vote. And I say that and I can't, but we have to.
Yeah.
If you don't believe the right thing has happened to guide us, then you have to vote for somebody you think will. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just saying that's the small thing that we can do to try and affect that level. Do you remember years ago, I may get it wrong, but was it Magic Johnson? Was it Kobe that presumably bit a hooker in the back during sex in a hotel room? Do you remember that?
I think that was Kobe.
Okay.
In Denver.
Okay. You remember what followed that?
No.
He was the worst man in the world. People thought he was awful. He didn't do it to you or me. He did it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And he was castricized. Nobody should like him, right? And then guess what? Guess how the whole thing changed? We know how it changed.
Yeah, right.
Turned out he was a great guy, and that was maybe I won't say minor indiscretion. I don't know. Don't really remember it. But the point is, if things that didn't happen to us personally, we can forget and go back and change our ways. Shit that happens to us, we have to remember. We have to remember. Oh, we're getting old.
Yeah, we're way deep in it. But
this is not our normal stuff.
I'll quickly pull us
go back to the drugs.
Let me quickly pull us back out of it before we go to the break. Guy the Cooking Sam, your favorite chat person, has a new suggestion for a shirt, and I'm going to second this right off the bat. Coke, meth, weed, and we mix. Love it. And we mix. All right, Sam, hang out just for 1 second here while we talk about our last sponsor of the evening, that being Big Papa Smokers. And you can find them over at bigpopsmokers.com, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Get you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. They have 13 perfectly balanced rubs. You're going to love each and every one of them. Some of my favorites, Sweet Money, Desert Gold. I also like Double Secret Steak Rub, of course, one of my favorite steak rubs. Jalapeno, Hallelujah, Happy Ending, which I put on the ribs and through my pulled pork. Love it. Also, they own Granny's barbecue sauce. So if you're tired of all the barbecue sauces that are out there right now and you want to break away from the norm, Granny's barbecue sauce is great all by itself, or you can use it as a base sauce and then tweak from there. And aside from their premium selection of rubs and sauces, they also offer a very wonderful selection of pellet charcoal and wood cookers. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, you want to check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa's is the exclusive online Mac dealer, and they even offer special packages. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers, you can take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you're not sure what grill you need, just give them a call. Ask them all the questions. They'll make sure that they put you in front of something that will fit the needs. 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727. Or shop their website, bigpopasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. More Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around.
Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Head over to smithfield.com throughout the grilling season and get tips and tricks from pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, and Giles Cridlin. Mouth-watering flavor, no artificial ingredients. Smithfield Fresh Pork, quite simply, some of the finest pork money can buy. It is the trusted choice of World Championship pitmasters for uses at competitions. And at home in the backyard, it is smithfield.com. Thank you, Smithfield. And we're joined once again by Sam the Cooking Guy. Thanks for hanging me through the break there. What's on the television, pal? What are we doing?
Kelly's sitting over there.
Oh. What's new with the coronavirus?
Kel. I'm on with Greg, Kel. Just turn it up so you can still hear it.
Oh, live. This is why you got to tune in live. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, it's live on podcast, but when we're all experiencing it at the same time, it's wonderful.
Kelly, here, watch. I'll block the screen. There, go. Now go. You can go take your thing into the other room if you want. Go. Nobody can see you.
Oh, dear. What's going on? It's salacious.
Because I don't know what happened.
What's wrong with
She's
her?
lost her mind tonight, for God's sakes.
Look out. All right, so you've answered some of the most important and tough questions of the evening already. So.
Yeah. I just had to move so I could block her. Go ahead.
But this might
this
be
is the real question.
This
is worse than what you've already asked
This
me?
might be the most pressing question of them all.
Go ahead.
Do you dye your hair?
Oh, God. No. Why are you asking me that?
Really?
Oh, you think I do?
Well, I'll tell you, I get plenty of feedback in the instant chat. Now,
about me or about you?
Well, both of us. When you're on, I get Sam dyes. I don't get does Sam. I get Sam dyes his hair. Sam dyes his hair. Blah blah blah. Recently,
Yeah, look, I admit that it is very dark.
Yeah.
I also admit that my father, who is no longer here, but I look a lot alike. I hope I don't really act like him because he was not the kindest man. He did not really start going gray until he was mid 60s. So I'm Kelly, am I 60 or 61? I'm 60. Well, it's all the coke, obviously.
Yeah.
I am 60. So, and I'm starting.
Yeah.
It's there.
Light salt.
And Kelly loves the salt and pepper.
Oh yeah.
Loves it. And I don't have enough of it for her. She'd love you.
Oh, she would love me.
I said you have the exact same hair coloring thing going on as a good friend of ours, Ken, and lives in San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, so where people would say Sam dyes his hair, people were also busting my balls, accusing me of dyeing the top of my hair. If I'm going to dye my hair, I'm doing the whole egg. I'm not going to leave the side shells here. I'm going the whole thing.
Well, there is an argument to be made.
What?
That you might give yourself an extra point or two in the credibility column by just going gray leaving gray on the sides and doing the top.
Oh. Yeah, but here's the worst thing.
Because the top is really the part that plays the biggest, has the most significance in the look. No.
Oh, I don't know. I hate hair. I hate it. I love guys that have magical hair, and I want their hair. But for me, I hate my hair. I don't want to even think about it. I would rather shave it off, but I get laid a lot less when I shave it off, so I continue to keep growing it. But it's retreating quicker than the French army, for crying out loud. But I keep it because it's I like the extracurricular activities, the benefits of. So, but there's no way. Look, you have very dark hair. I have very dark hair. Here's the one thing that I've come to find with people that dye their hair.
Yeah.
Dudes with lighter-ish hair can get away with it more than dudes with really dark hair, because really dark hair dye looks fake. So then what?
Okay, but when you see a guy who's 63 and he's got that fading blonde hair, he looks like it's silly looking.
But it's not less silly than the 60-year-old with the permanent marker black hair.
No, that looks ridiculous.
Yes.
And if you were here and you could see it, you would see the gray. You would get that it was. I think you would get that it wasn't dyed. Certainly on a shitty little MacBook Air camera, you can't. It's just going to look black. It looks like the same color as my T-shirt under here, right?
Yeah, right.
And it's not. It's brown. It's dark brown, but it doesn't distinguish in this bad camera.
Look, here's how we'll close this. I asked my wife's hairdresser. She's a very fabulous lady. I said, "Hey, Steph, what do you think about dyeing my hair?" And her totally reaction right back. She said, "Do you want to look like you have dyed hair?"
Of course.
And I said, "No."
But see, if you saw me in person, Kelly, do I look like I have dyed hair? Absolutely not. No, Kelly says absolutely not. Yeah. And she's managed 3 hair salons for 20 years.
Huh.
28 years.
28.
Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, so when the hairdresser told me, well, you're going to look like a guy with dyed hair, then I said, well, I don't want it.
It looks shoe polish when you dye it.
I don't want that. No way. So I'm not going to do it.
Come see me in person.
Yeah. Well, I'm planning this year. I hate it too, by the way, this Corona, because I was really making very firmly tentative plans to get out and see you in person this year.
No, it can't happen.
Well, no, I mean, it can't not happen. We're only in month 4, for crying out loud. We got a lot of time, but I'm just saying.
What's halfway between us?
I want to come out there. I don't want to go halfway between us. Halfway is Kansas City, I think.
What, is that the...
I mean, it's fine. I've been there. I want to come out there. Like, if I'm leaving Cleveland, I'm not going to Kansas City. No offense, Kansas City. I'm going to Sand Doggy Dog. Come on, give me a break.
By the way, never in my 31 years of living here have I ever heard anyone refer to this as Sand Doggy Dog. And by the way, if you're thinking you might want to come here, you should think about dropping that expression because they'll just turn you around at the airport.
Wow. All right.
You're going to get off the plane. You'll be like, all right, I'm in Sand Doggy Dog. And they'll go, sir, you're going back.
We're turning you right around and sending you back to Seatown, loser. Yeah. All right. Look, Sam, let's talk about this in our remaining time this evening.
Okay, go
there's plenty of folks. I had mentioned it with Malcolm Reed, who is a budding YouTube sensation on the barbecue and grilling side of things. He's approaching 1 million subscribers. You're well past that at this point. You're rapidly approaching 2 million. We'll be
there by summertime.
Your run to 1 million is impressive. Your run to 2 million is like Usain Bolt running the 100 meters compared to your first million. It's unbelievable.
It's going to be. It'll be fast.
It's super fast.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Now that people have all of this free time, or there's a decent amount of people, the thing that I was hearing that I told Malcolm is, I'm going to start a podcast or I'm going to start a YouTube channel. If you want to get my take on what you should be thinking about on a podcast, go listen to Sean's interview that he did with me. But let's talk about YouTube channels with the preeminent cooking YouTube channel on YouTube. That's the Cooking Guy.
Wow.
If somebody's going to get into this, what's important? I'm talking, let's strip it all the way down to the basic, most important components. Because here's the other thing that I'm worried about. With everybody talking about how they're going to jump into this shit now. In 2 or 3 months, if everything recovers back quickly, the all clear is given. I think there's also, for as much of a influx of talent that there might be, there's going to be then a vacuum out of talent because people are going to go back to normal life.
That happens.
Yeah.
I used to sell real estate, and there's this wave of people getting into real estate when other businesses aren't really happening, or when the real estate market gets really hot. And it's like you could sell ice to an Eskimo. That's when people jump in the market. When the market gets a little bit difficult, everybody goes back out again. So just, people with too much time on their hands that think, well, I love to sell. I think I love to sell. I love homes. I love looking at homes. I'm good with people. I'm going to get into real estate and think they're going to make $1 jillion and I'll realize how difficult it is. This is not an easy business, despite how stupid we might make it look. To boil it down, here's what I think you need. I think you need an interesting angle that maybe has not already been covered 1,000 times. I used to say when I started, the world did not need another Emeril Lagasse or another Bobby Flay. Those versions were already there and doing fine. So me coming on and copying somebody else's style, that didn't make sense in my head. That being said, it definitely took me a while to find my own voice. But there's no point in coming on and doing what everybody else does. You need to come on and you need to find your unique voice. And you have to bring something that people will want to see. I chose to shoot, as I'm fond of saying, at the middle of the room. I don't do sophisticated food. I don't do fancy stuff. I'm not doing crazy French stuff up here, but I'm also not doing like vegan, organic, stuff down here. It's not my world. I know where I'm best. I also know where there's a bigger audience for the stuff that I do. And that's the part of the room that I choose to aim at. So if you're going to come on, you need to be unique. You need to find something to say that maybe hasn't already been said before. But I also think, and you and I, Greg, talk about this all the time, you have to consider the quality of the work that you're doing. And I don't mean that if you're going to make a souffle, it looks perfect. I mean the content that you're putting out. In the beginning, anybody could shoot anything with an iPhone and put it up on YouTube or Vimeo or the internet, and people would watch it because there's this hunger, this appetite for it. But we've all gotten more sophisticated, and now people are looking at this stuff and they're thinking, All right. Well, I don't want to look at something that looks like shit. I want to look at something that looks really good. So we work very hard. Max shoots all my stuff. He edits all of our stuff. He makes us look great.
Mm-hmm.
So we work hard at that. You can't get away with I don't think just a single camera anymore. There are people that you don't see talking to other people. Babish is a very popular food YouTube guy. His stuff looks amazing. He's got a huge audience. He works very hard at it. You can't just come on and just think you can just cheat your way to the top, because it's not going to happen. I know people look and they go, look at that guy's got 2 million. That guy's got 1.5 million. I know people look at me and he goes, he's got whatever he's got. He's an idiot, and I can do better than him. Well, okay, so do that.
Yeah.
You see people, that's the restaurant model that fails almost every time. Somebody sits in a restaurant, they're eating lasagna, and the guy looks at his wife and he goes, look, this lasagna sucks. This restaurant's packed. Your lasagna is 100 times better. Imagine if we opened a place with your lasagna. You know me, honey. I've got personality. I'm great at our holiday party. I'll run the front of the house. You make the lasagna. We'll be 1,000 times busier.
Yeah.
And they end up going out of business 3 months later. It isn't easy. Nothing's easy anymore. You have to commit. You have to work at it. You have to make it different. You have to make the quality there, that kind of stuff. Did I preach too much?
Well, it's important that there is a mixed signal, because you have people that are successful in these platforms that say you just need to start doing something and throwing stuff up there and learn as you go. So where do you consult with, or where do you find that middle ground? I don't believe that you should just start throwing anything up. There's a guy that does Another Barbecue podcast that says, hey, you just need to start doing it, and it's just going to suck, and kind of learn as you go. I think that there's so much content out there now. This isn't 10 years ago where nobody knew how to make a podcast, or nobody really was into YouTube the way we're into YouTube now. There has been so much content generated that you can go through and see, here's a channel that looks really good and kind of matches up with my personality and how I think things can be brought across.
I'm saying we're much more sophisticated in our approach and how we look at these things and what we expect. TV in its infancy was shit. TV 4 years later wouldn't have had people watching if it was still that early stuff when you compare to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Who wants to watch really high quality programming here and then just garbage over here? I don't want to watch that. I mean, that might work if you're 17 and you're doing, banjo videos in your bedroom, but I'm not 17 and I can't speak to that audience and I don't understand that audience. But that's fine. No, I don't think that you should just throw up any old shit, because you know what? I'm not going to, if I walk into a restaurant that starts off going, I don't know we don't know how to do this. I don't know how to make this lasagna and get it on the plate hot. I walk in, the lasagna sucks. I'm not coming back the next week thinking they may have gotten their stuff together.
Is it important for somebody new to have a agenda of a number of things? Like if they're going to do a cooking channel, I mean, let's talk about that since you're kind of the expert. Do they want to have a certain amount in the bank before they start publishing to ensure the ability to adjust or grow or add as they see them being viewed and released over the first handful of weeks?
No, I don't know. You know what? No, I disagree with that. I have a friend that does a podcast here in this area. And he shot like 8 of them and held them all.
Yeah.
And then started to release them. Well, what if your stuff is no good? What if there's a fundamental flaw in something that you're doing? What if your mic volume is shitty? There's too much treble. There's too much bass. All these things. And now you've got 8 of these going up. No, don't do that. In fact, I think that's a terrible idea. I think what you should do, you need to follow the Greg Rempe school of sales And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, everything is sales. It doesn't matter if it's a cooking channel on YouTube, if you're at a bar looking to meet men or women,
or both,
you're selling trucks, or barbecues in a home store. Everything is sales. And the idea that you would put multiple things up that weren't perfect is a mistake. Put one thing up, then critique the hell out of it like Greg Rempe suggests, and then go, geez, you know what? The volume of my mic, his mic, their mic wasn't right. There's something tinny. I need to change something in this room. I've got to get a better microphone. I got to get better headphones. I got to change my software. Don't make multiples of something that's no bueno. Because then where are you?
Then you have multiple no good stuff.
Thank you. That's exactly what
then
you got.
Then you got to adjust after the fact, after 8 or 9 episodes, if you even have an audience at that point.
If you have an audience. Yeah. By the way, everybody should listen to what we have to say. There's a lot of wisdom that comes out of this. A lot of nonsense, but there's a lot of wisdom.
Some might find our wisdom as a controversy to other statements. However, we will not be party to that, I can tell you.
Kelly, Greg just said controversy. See, and she goes, and advertisement? Advertisement is not a weird word.
I do have advertisements in my show, I'll have you know.
Thank you.
Now I lost the great follow-up question that I was going to ask.
God.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. So within these troubled times, as more people are home and they're watching, have you noticed an appreciable spike up of views on your, I guess, overall videos, and then more specifically over the last 2 weeks?
Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed an appreciable spike up in subscribers.
Really?
Yeah. Views?
Not views?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So, like in the lockdown, in those lockdown videos that you did, like, I don't know, was it 4 of them or you're still rolling?
Very highly reviewed.
So you had, like, at last look, 3 of the 4 were in, I don't know, 400, 500,000 view range.
Yeah.
But one of them was like near 1 million views. The egg one. What the fuck?
Egg. You know, it's funny. The more basic shit that I do, the more it gets watched. So my cookbook, literally just finishing today. In it, there's a moment when I tell in a head note to a recipe. The section is hard-boiled eggs. I know it sounds stupid, but I remember saying once for the TV show, I was going to Kelly goes, what are you shooting today? I go, I'm going to do an egg episode and hard-boiled eggs. And she goes, don't you think like teaching people how to hard-boiled eggs is a little basic? And I said, you know, sweetheart, I remember that when I figured out how to do it the right way and not make them all gray, that make that gray ring around the yolk and get them all chalky and gross.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big deal for me. She goes, I think it's too much, too simple. That literally was one of the most popular episodes I've done in a very long time. I can't tell you to this day how many people come up and go, dude, thank you for showing me how to hard-boiled egg.
Yeah.
I now, as I said in this head note in the book that will come out in the fall, unless the bottom falls out of the world, I use Kelly now as a reverse bellwether.
Oh.
If I say, hey, what do you think of this? She goes, oh, I don't like that. I go, thank you. It's like the Pope blessing that recipe, that episode, that video.
Yeah. What's for release this week? Anything you can tease us with so we can look forward?
Tomorrow, you will see the Kevin Bacon Burger.
Kevin Bacon Burger, yes. Are there 6 layers? Hello.
There's not 6 layers.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm not that deep.
All right. So be prepared for the Kevin Bacon burger. Go back and watch all of his recent lockdown videos. They got some really cool, especially if you like tater tots. There's a really cool recipe with tater tots on top. Love that.
Hot dish. You're the part of the world that a hot dish is a thing, right?
Yeah, we love hot dishes. Casseroles, we call them.
Yeah. But does the term hot dish work there?
No, that's not like a term.
See, I think that's You're not Midwest.
That might
right?
be more Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. That's probably where it is. Wisconsin.
Yeah, we're more. I like when I moved from New York.
Yeah.
People's like, oh, Ohio, you're moving out west. I mean, technically, because we moved west. But,
I wouldn't have said that.
You know, but
What if
when
they
you live
said
in New York,
you're moving west.
Yes,
that's fine.
No,
but
no,
out west,
out
definitely
west. We were moving out west, and then we got to Ohio, and I was like, oh, well, but that, I mean, they say we're in the Midwest, but to me, Midwest is more like Kansas and
Chicago.
No, even Chicago's only 5 hours away from me, so it's 6. It's not that far away. So I think it's more Kansas and those states around Kansas.
I don't know that part.
Missouri,
I don't know that part of the country. I'd
Kansas,
like to.
Missouri.
I'd love to know.
Oklahoma, Texas seems middle to me. I mean, it's south, but middle, right? So
no, I would never say Texas was middle ever.
Middle section. So if you have the east and the west, Washington is west.
All right.
Right?
Look, you're getting coffee one morning. There's somebody there with like an Australian accent. Right?
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah. You're chatting about places in the country.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, where's Texas? Would you say it's in the middle? Because look.
Well, I know. I'm not.
See this finger right here waving?
Yes.
That's the middle.
Yeah.
The middle is not down here.
Yes. But you don't understand.
No, you never do like that.
See this finger right here? What I'm saying is there's an eastern portion, there's a middle portion, and then there's a western portion. To me, Texas is in the southern part of the country, of course.
You want to know where the middle of this onion is? It's here.
Up your. Oh.
It's not down here, douche.
I got it.
Here.
I got it. All right. Well, let's end it that way then. Calling me a douche. Very nice. And you can find Sam, the cooking guy, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Subscribe. Cram the subscribe button. Smash the subscribe button or whatever you're not supposed to say. Right? Yeah. Thecookingguy.com is his website. And the first Tuesday of the month, you can find them right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Sam, always appreciate the time.
You're the best.
There he is.
Go listen to his interview.
Go listen. That's right. Sam, the cooking guy right there. And we are a little late, but we'll go ahead and wrap it up here right now. I think he let something drop there that we just glossed over. He's got a new book coming out in the fall. By the way, one of my favorite sayings is douche or douchebag or douche canoe. So getting called a douche by one of my favorite people ever is humbling to me. It's like a badge of honor. All the way back in the first hour, Malcolm Reed joined us. How to Barbecue Right. Subscribe there on the YouTubes. Great recipes. Then we had Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. Follow him on Instagram, a great Instagram contributor. And as John Solberg said in the instant chat, probably the preeminent food photographer in our industry, believe it or not. Second hour, all Sam the Cooking Guy all the time. Thecookingguy.com, his website. Subscribe to him on YouTube. Big show planned for you next week. Meathead is in. Masterbuilt Smokers is in for the first time, believe it or not. We'll talk about that gravity feed that Phil Ludwig had such an issue with putting together. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday, this is your program host and proud U.S. American reminding you to stay sheltered in place, stay socially distant. And I am a proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Sylvie Curry from Ramona, California, and I'm listening to the Barbecue Central Show.